Finally, it's been a long time and we're reunited. I'm Gloria.
I'm Victoria, and we are Chemist Confessions. Now, Chemist Confessions is a simply candid conversation between us, two quirky skincare chemists. We cover things from product news to skin science and product education. And also share our own skincare mishaps.
Yeah, and most importantly, we answer your questions, so send them in.
Yeah. So today, so it's been 3 months.
It feels so long.
Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know, obviously, Victoria and I, we are co-founders in the podcast, our blog, Instagram, our product line. So we spend a lot of time together. So this quarantine period has been very weird.
Yeah, no kidding. Speaking of, how was your quarantine?
It was good. The first 2 weeks of it was actually really nice. It was good to kind of step away. We had a really crazy travel schedule, just trying to run around, make sure our R&D's on point, product development's on time, and we're lucky to have a few foreign wholesale accounts. So all of that together. Oh, and for those of you who don't know, right before the COVID situation, we were lucky to be selected to be part of Target's accelerator program. So all that flying was getting to a point where my skin was losing the authority to talk about skin.
Yeah, I mean, right. It was definitely taking a toll. And I will say, like, it's already much easier to have a co-founder trying to do this kind of, startup business, I guess. But when you start losing enthusiasm, the energy, it wanes,
I really hope it doesn't come across in our podcast sometimes when we're like, hey guys, today I guess we're trying to talk about acids.
I'm pretty sure they could tell.
I'm sorry, guys. But we're re-energized.
Yeah, so it is really good to be back. Because of the big break, we are knee deep into summer now. We had plans to kind of transition everyone's routines from winter gently into summer, like introduce ideas like one product at a time, and we had this beautiful timeline, but none of that anymore. We're going balls to the wall, just like having everyone just think about overhauling their summer routines.
It's like we hibernated and crawled out and it's like, sun!
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of the goal for today.
Yeah, and for those of you who are new to our podcast, what we do is we have a loose theme for the episode. And like Victoria mentioned, this week it's all about summer routine. We will start out by just talking about news around skincare. We'll talk about our main topic, answer any questions. We'll break it up with some site fun facts because, that's
we
what
like
we
it.
do. That's what we do.
We like it.
Yes. And it's our podcast. So shall we get started with the news?
Yeah, let's do it. And finally, can we just say for a moment, let's please take a break from actual news?
Yes. Yeah, actually, when we were talking about what to do for this episode, the consensus was no more quarantine related stuff. Please.
Don't you feel like it's now gotten to a point where you just have to control it. You can only listen to 10 minutes worth of crazy ass news, and it's just for your mental health, You just gotta control it.
Oh, actually, before we get into the news, what are we drinking today, Victoria?
The most important thing is that today we are just having a good old beer.
Yep, we're having a beer. We're having Founders IPA. Founders, call us. We're not sponsored by them, but we could be.
Founders for founders.
Oh,
and half the people have now turned off this podcast.
Come back for skin science.
All right. Okay, so
the
actual news. So in the news, so much time has passed that Allure has already come out with their Reader's Choice awards for skincare. So we're just gonna blow through them really quickly, talk about ones we like and ones we don't like. So they list Garnier Micellar All-in-One, Tatcha the Water Cream, Kate Somerville their exfoliation product. That it's definitely a longer name than that, but we
exfoliate or something like that. Yeah.
And then Ole Henriksen's Banana Bright Eye Cream. Laneige.
Sorry, I'm just picturing someone cutting up a banana and just putting it on their eyes.
Laneige Lip Sleeping Mask, which is a classic. I don't even think that's new. But
that's definitely not new.
Yeah. Supergoop Unseen Sunscreen Broad Spectrum SPF 40, which I will say this is probably my favorite on the list. We've gotten a lot of like great reviews from like our followers, and I think the overall texture is not bad, so that would be my favorite. They also list The Ordinary, hyaluronic acid, and panthenol.
That's actually my least favorite. I'm sorry. Keep going.
It's very vanilla.
It's vanilla, and the texture to me is just a little awful. Sorry, was that too blunt?
A little awful is fine.
It's my personal opinion, guys.
Yeah. And then finally, Mario Badescu's Drying Lotion, which personally for me is my least favorite, and I just don't think that's actually a very helpful product for acne. So it's true. It's very drying.
I just feel like drying is such a last generation concept of what you have to do to take care of acne.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So just some quick product highlights.
Hold on, I need a positive highlight.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I do like the Laneige lip sleeping mask.
Oh, that's a cop out.
Hey.
It is very good.
I like it, and I usually just use petrolatum or our balm. Laneige is one of the products where I feel like, even though it's positioned as a sleeping mask, because I guess sleeping masks are in, but I like it for the day. It's just a little color and just enough protection, and it's fine.
Totally agree. They have that mint one now, right? Yeah, I haven't tried that one yet, but it sounds nice.
Yeah. Whenever Sephora reopens, we will.
Oh. In other news, while the economy is very questionable and unstable right now, we will say there are a lot of beauty brands launching. We'll just list a few and run through them very quickly. The first one being Kristen Bell has announced she'll be launching her own CBD skincare line.
Of course she did.
Mazel tov. Another celebrity back brand, so...
Another celebrity bag CBD brand.
Yeah, true. And then Fenty Beauty is actually now making their way into skincare. So we'll see about that. I have certain questions, but who knows?
Actually, I'm curious. I didn't see. I saw that they're making a skincare line. Did they announce any specific SKUs or product?
Yeah,
very curious.
Yeah. But I mean, if they do like hybrid makeup skincare, that might be interesting. I'd look into that.
Yeah.
They're Good Habit. They are a new brand that is launching a line completely filled with blue light protecting skincare.
How do you feel about that, Victoria?
Put me on the spot.
Yes, I am.
I'm just going to say blue light is not my third concern nor my fifth concern. So to have an entire line of blue light protection products is just not very interesting for me.
Victoria's being very PC. How I feel about it is it really isn't the main thing that's causing damage. And the thing is, the things that in literature too, in science, that will help with protecting you from blue light damage is the things that will protect you from other stuff like UV light, IRA. It's a good cleansing habit, good moisturizing habits, and a really good well-rounded antioxidant routine. So yes, that's what I'm gonna say about that.
I will say I'm very curious to see how they're testing, because that is the biggest question that we have around blue light. Is no one has really done a good job of translating that into a good test to prove that it's something we should be concerned about. So yeah, I guess that would be the only
that's
thing
a good
to be
point.
looking into.
That's why, like, sometimes, like, anti-pollution is hard for me because on one hand, I feel like a lot of the products that advertise anti-pollution is like, but then there are a lot of cool tests of how people actually measure the effects of pollution on your skin. So it's like one where products haven't really caught up to science yet, but there's promise. But blue light is one where, like, everything is a mystery. So
maybe they'll tape cell phones to people's faces.
Oh God! Oh. Why would you say that? I can see it. All right.
Next one. Shiseido is actually launching a new unisex brand called Balm, Baum. It's going to be a prestige brand, skincare and fragrance oriented. Has a really interesting story. They want to build awareness around trees. So how they're doing that is that their packaging is, I believe, using PRP, post-recycled plastic, as well as, I guess, leftover wood from a furniture maker in Japan. So yeah, they're going to use this upcycled wood. It's actually, the packaging is very beautiful, but I mean, it sounds very expensive, and I just hope the skincare lives up to the branding.
This is where I think we can get very philosophical about it because packaging waste is a big problem. But a lot of times the solutions are very expensive. And ultimately, people are buying skincare for what's inside the packaging. So if you give me this beautiful upcycled wood and put foot cream in my face cream, like I just don't know if that will make a big difference in the long run. But I guess kudos for Shiseido for figuring out that upcycling and recycling supply chain. That upcycling and recycling supply chain.
It's the first video. We're working on it.
Oh my God, literally the word wouldn't come. Last but not least was, it's not really the news, but you see a lot of review articles online all the time talking about new launches and new products. They get, a lot of times press get free samples to talk about it. Not to say none of that review matters or it's not real, but sometimes the headlines are a little exaggerated and makes me laugh. So I read on Well and Good that they were talking about, I think, was it the Ole Henriksen pineapple cleanser? Yeah, so this new launch was described as, this pineapple cleanser is like sunshine in a bottle and I can't stop washing my face now. Please stop washing your face. You only need to do it once, max twice a day. Just saying.
Also, sunshine in a bottle, the whole combo of words it's a slightly unfortunate, but I get the enthusiasm.
Yeah. I just picture some like poor intern like, whew, capturing sunlight. Yeah, no, we get where they're going for, but like just the outcome is a little humorous.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, I think we do want to say, wrapping up and just talking about all of these new launches that are coming out, it's clear that skincare only continues to be more and more saturated. And that's why it's really important that we all just do just a little bit of research to help us discern and filter out brands that don't work for your skin. I just get this feeling more and more, like I feel the stress of how many more brands just keep getting added, how many more products are added. So that is one thing I do want to say, just with all of these new brands coming in.
Yeah, and I don't know. I feel like there's a demand, and for us too, sometimes it makes me feel like, okay, there is value in what we do, but on certain days it feels a little overwhelming, right? Like the thing is, consumer interest that's driving all these new brands coming out is good for research. But then on the other hand is you have a lot of garbage to weed through. So
exactly.
So send us your questions.
Yeah. All right. So I think it's time we get to the meat of the actual podcast.
Oh, you mean that wasn't the meat of the podcast? You mean it's not over? Wait, we're not signing off yet. I'm just kidding.
So summer's here.
Yes.
And to remind everyone, Gloria has dry skin. I have oily skin, so it's perfect that we can like speak from both sides. But yeah, we first, with summer, and also in recognizing that we're all still kind of in self-quarantine, one of the things we have to deal with is or that's on people's minds is self-care. And so masking is not a very popular thing right now.
Yeah,
And we can't see our estheticians either.
Oh, yeah, that's been a bummer. Support your estheticians when they're back in business, especially the ones that, I mean, they're hit really hard. And there are a lot of them that even though they want to get back to work, they're making sure that their clients are safe and healthy.
Right.
So definitely do think about scoping out your local business, local estheticians, and support them. Anyway, like Victoria mentioned, masking is very popular right now. So we'll talk a little bit about masks in general, sheet masks specifically. So before we get started, we just want to throw out there that they are a great hydrator. It's like super soaking your face with one product. But beyond that, if it's telling you that it's going to turn back time, it's going to erase wrinkles, take those claims with a grain of salt.
Exactly.
It's mostly for hydration, which is important, but anything else is kind of me.
Yeah, and we also, we'll be honest, like we like sheet masks too. There's nothing wrong with having that me time and pampering yourself. Like that all matters. And so, definitely just because it may not hold up in terms of anti-aging claims and pigmentation, again, hydration is a key component to healthy skin, so there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
So first things first, what's the first sheet mask?
So when you go about trying to choose a sheet mask, the first thing you should consider is the material of the sheet mask. First up, hydrogels. Hydrogels are your like little jelly floppy things that they're sometimes made from algae. They're different, maybe cellulose, just different polymers that is used to hold water, and you just stick that slab on your skin.
By 30 minutes, it's probably sliding down.
Oh, yeah, for sure. The good thing about it is it is cooling. It's kind of fun. The texture's a little funky. But the bad thing is it's a little, to me, especially for me, it's questionably hydrating. Because it is a material that holds on to water. And supposedly by osmosis, that water gets into your skin. But after a while, when the gel is dry, you strike a balance, right? Once the gel water content and your skin's water content is at equilibrium, it kind of stops. And from my use experience, it stops pretty fast.
Okay. So you feel like, so you feel the need to definitely layer over?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, for all sheet masks, I feel the need to layer over. But then for hydrogels, it feels like...
Does it feel like not hydrating at all?
Yes.
Okay.
Like for me, it most of the benefits from cooling and not from hydrating. It's not very substantial.
Okay. And do you feel like it's also formula dependent? Like usually a lot of them are so glycol based. I wonder if that's ever been an issue.
So it's not an issue, but I don't feel like it gives me any benefits other than the cooling patch type of scenario.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just not very good at delivery. Right? It doesn't feel like much is getting in.
Okay, got it. All right. So
to sum up.
I mean, I will say, to follow up with that, I actually don't have any problems with hydrogel. I think, as Gloria said, cooling can be great, especially for irritated skin. And so I think in terms of oily, I really don't have a problem. We're going to talk about biocellulose after. Those two are my favorite, and I don't really have a preference either way. But I think that's fine. I don't have a lot of comments on it,
I should add that there are different types of hydrogel out there. They're the ones that has a little bit of a stick to it. Those are better. There are also ones that's like a little bit more rigid, and instead of like laying, like really sticking to your skin, you can just, let's say you put it under your eye and you just feel it going, wah.
Yep.
No bueno. So next up.
All right, biocellulose. So so it has a lot of really cool data on just like soothing skin. So this is probably will always be the one we recommend for people. The kind of unfortunate thing about biocellulose is it is more expensive on average. So on top of that, also can be cooling, soothing, so that's great. And I would say that probably the thing we've noticed is that a lot of people can claim biocellulose, but you won't know until you open it.
Yeah.
That it's like actually the good biocellulose. Yes.
So what you're looking for is something that really just sticks to your skin, that conforms to your skin perfectly.
Cushiony, yeah.
Yeah, so that's one way to tell. And another thing about biocellulose is, so fun fact, one of my favorite masks is the SkinCeuticals biocellulose mask.
She's bougie.
I have like one legacy one left. It is like $20 a pop. Yeah. I got it for free the first time I tried it. It has one ingredient. It's water. It's freaking water. And it's just, the material is so, it fully like encases your face and just cooling hydration the whole time. Yeah, but that's like I said, it's money. I've tried like much cheaper biocellulose and it's not quite the same. There's a quality difference.
No. And something we've learned as industry insiders is like, yeah, not all biocellulose is made the same, which is really scary to us, is that the upcharge on it is insane. But it's also hard to know, like,
that you're getting your money's
the quality of biocellulose. So that's kind of the tough part. But again, if you have someone that can vouch for it, you can try it out and great category to look at. Yeah. All right. So, and then last but not least,
the woven category.
We don't care about this one.
As you can tell by the generic name. But this is the most common one. So it's the
cheapest one.
Yes. Your traditional cloth type sheet mask. Material range far and wide in between. It's not advertised, right? No one's gonna go out there and say, unless it's biodegradable of some sort, you don't really know. But this is the most common category. I will say, what you want to look for in these is one, good adhesion. It should conform to your face with no like air bubbles, bubble gaps, and you guys know the type, like the ones that's just like slides off a little easier. It doesn't really clean. Yes.
Paper.
There's some that's also a little rough almost. Yeah. And then the second characteristic you should look for is that it has lasting water retention. Because again, the idea of masking is really super soaking your face. So if you feel like it's drying out after 5 minutes, not a good one. Move on.
Agreed. And then finally, something to keep in mind that is really great for people who, have more finicky skin types, sensitive skin types, is preservatives. Sheet masks actually require a lot of preservatives. So with that, you can quickly figure out what system doesn't quite work for your skin via your sheet mask. So great indicator of overall skin behavior. So that would be one thing to look at.
And another word of suggestion is to help preserve sheet masks. There are high levels of glycols in sheet masks, like butylene, propylene glycol. And so after you use a sheet mask, whatever you put on your skin will penetrate a lot easier. So on one hand, if your skin's tolerant, it's really good to add a serum or active so it penetrates better. But if you're sensitive skin and you're like, ooh, now I want to use my acid toner, you might find that combination is very irritating.
Yeah, that's a great point. And then finally, how much did you spend on it, Gloria?
I am very cheap when it comes to masks.
Unless it's SkinCeuticals.
Unless it's that $20 SkinCeuticals biocellulose mask, I like to spend under $5 on mine.
Yeah. I think I will say I'm not going to spend dirt cheap money on like the woven skin mask because for me, it doesn't do anything for me. It's not very gratifying.
Just not worth the 10 minutes.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like my skin's pumping. I get nothing out of it. So I would say that I'm willing to shell out the $5 for, a nice sheet mask to do like once a week. I'm amazed. We've heard stories where people feel the need to sheet mask every day. I actually don't think that's necessary. You don't have to do that. For us, again, like we mentioned before, it's a me time moment. So do as you please, as you need like a little boost of hydration. But
yeah, and really, if you have time to kick back with a sheet mask with wine every day, it doesn't hurt. You do you.
Yeah, true. Another thing that we've gotten a lot of questions on is self-care because of while you're wearing all these masks. A lot of people told us, well, one thing is washing your hands all the time. So with that, we always recommend like find a good balm, one that probably doesn't leave your hands super greasy, where you feel like everything you hold is like a bar of soap. You know, and then leaves those like fingerprint marks everywhere. The other thing has been the issue of wearing, you know, like the N95 masks, the ones that are really held tight to your skin. They experience chafing and, you know, just overall dryness. So we just want to mention that, again, we understand that while we tout petrolatum, it's not ideal actually for N95 masks because they slip and slide everywhere.
You want a very, very good fit for those.
Right. So we do actually recommend, this is when we would recommend drier balms. So you can look into the shea butters and the, what's the other one that I was thinking of? The waxes. These can all help act as an occlusive while still kind of protecting your skin from constant wearing of the mask. So that's one thing we do want to note.
Yeah, and I want to add that if you don't have anything on you, something even like a chapstick, where it's like Victoria said, it's a harder wax. It doesn't deposit a lot of like greasy slip and slide like petrolatum. Just to give it a little bit of protection, that helps a lot. So
Yep, exactly. Cool. So yeah, that's in terms of stay at home, self-care. I think that about covers it. It's actually, more importantly, let's get into actual summer routines. Woo! So first things first.
Sunscreen! Do it!
Right. And we recently did a really cool lazy poll. When I say we did it, it's the followers. Yeah. If you ever have some time and you are hunting for a sunscreen, do take a look at it. It is really helpful. People really know their sunscreens.
Yeah. Everyone's very particular because it is personal. And sunscreen, our go-to suggestion is, will you use a giant handful and slather it over your face?
Yeah.
Because everything else, you might think, texture doesn't matter that much as long as it works, right? But sunscreen is where you cannot be grossed out by your sunscreen. Yeah. You're going to want to reapply. Yeah. You're going to be okay with layering on thick. Because chances are most people are not applying enough.
Yeah. So let me ask you, does your sunscreen product change per season?
Yes and no. So in the US, it doesn't, because it's still dry enough for me to just stick with it. So in the US, I prefer organic filters or chemical filters, because I don't dislike that grease. As long as it's not too greasy, I don't care. Yeah. I actually find like mineral filters to be too drying, because it has that, because you're literally caking your face in powder, right? And to me, it just like, it doesn't help if my skin's going through a dry spell. Even during more humid months like summer, it just doesn't feel good.
That's so true.
But if I go to Asia, if I go back to Taiwan and it is a proper swamp during this time, then yes, I change my sunscreen. That is when I even find ones with alcohol.
Yep. I couldn't agree more. Yeah. And honestly, it's fascinating because here in the U.S., people are very mindful of alcohol. But in Asia, because it's so humid, if they have one layer that has a high level of alcohol, they do not care. Yeah. The fact that it's refreshing, it lightens up their overall routine and the finish, they really value that. So yeah,
for sure.
I will say for me, same thing. I am a little bit more partial to I'm totally partial to chemical and organic, just because it gets really heavy quickly and easily. The one mineral that has done really well for me is Murad City Defense, but it's like $60.
Yeah, so that's another thing that you also don't want to lather over your face. Like, well, today my sunscreen routine is $10.
Can't be shelling out that kind of money every 2 months, because it's not that much either.
Right.
So, so organics for me, I will say in terms of transitioning, I do transition. So winter, I've been using the Purito, the green clean, the non-fragrance version. It's felt great. It does, for me, I actually replace it as like my moisturizer as well. It's creamy. The finish is not very heavy, but overall you do have this kind of like nourished finish. But now that we're headed into summer, I will say it is actually too heavy for me. So now I'm same thing as Gloria. I actually transitioned to all the Asian sunscreens. Some of them do have alcohol. It doesn't necessarily faze me. So yeah, for all you oily skin friends out there, you can consider that.
Yeah, and side note, zinc oxide, I know it's like a huge topic because because of the recent FDA studies that we actually talked about in the last episode about chemical filters.
Wow, that was last episode.
That was last episode.
Oh my goodness.
It's been a full quarter. So if you do want to go for a full mineral or a zinc oxide only filter system, again, same rules apply. Try to go for one where you don't mind layering. So that means absolutely no white casts, because no one wants to go to the beach looking like, well, basically a clown, right? So it's really tough, and I feel like this year I've been on a kick of trying different mineral formulas to see if I can find one that I like. I have not, so write to me with your suggestions. If you swear by one where it's not drying and there's no white cast. I'm not tan. There's plenty that make me look like I'm auditioning for something very theatrical.
Actually, did you try the Elta MD?
The pure mineral
Yeah,
one?
the mineral one.
I like the Allure MD non-mineral.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Their mineral's okay, but actually I've never tried their 100% mineral one. Because whatever one I try, it's like zinc oxide.
It's zinc and
Yeah.
Yep. All right, so that's sunscreens. Next thing, moisturizers.
Do you change it up during summer, Victoria?
Of course I do. Yeah, so wintertime, to be honest, with Chemist Confessions, I am just Aquafix and Mr. Reliable. Summertime is very much just Mr. Reliable. That's all I need. And then even in the daytime, like I mentioned, sometimes, especially in humid climates, sunscreen's really all I need. It's just the nature of it. Like, you can tell I am breaking out. It is because my skin is adapting to a new climate, and it's the nature of oily skin. Yeah.
So for me, I have to be more mindful during winter, right? It's about being a little gross about taking that balm and just go.
Yep, I've seen it before. But the next day, your skin is like glowing.
It makes a huge difference. Occlusives, this is where, if we want to talk about sleeping masks in general, the OG sleeping mask is you take a tub of petrolatum and you just go.
It's true.
Seal in moisture for the night. But yeah, during summer, I don't do that anymore. I don't need to do that. But I will say actually my staple is Aquafix. Whatever I put over Aquafix, I do have to put a moisturizer over Aquafix or an oil. But I actually take this time to experiment with what I put over Aquafix to see what works well for me. But if I don't have that layer of humectants, I still feel really dry. And it's like a weird game of finding the right occlusive for me during this time, because this is when I'm like, I can't stand the balm anymore. It's just too much. But
side note, actually, for our new listeners, humectants are the water-based molecules. We always forget.
Oh yes, sorry guys.
No. We have a bad habit of just.
This is what we use. So they're your water grabbers, and common ingredients are hyaluronic acid, glycerin, your NMFs, glycols, your propylene glycol, butylene glycol, humectants, sodium PCA. So if you have any routine questions about if you're using enough of it or using too much of it, just message us.
Yeah. All right, so that covers moisturizers.
Actives.
Let's move on to actives. Like, is there anything we need to keep in mind in that department?
summer is a delicate time. Whatever you do to not anger your skin is a good idea.
Yeah.
So I would say I still chemical exfoliate during this time. But that's because I know exactly how my skin is gonna do, right? So my for those of you who are new, my skin is very, very acid tolerant. So I know like how much glycolic acid my skin can handle. So during the summer, it's not an issue. I never peel with it. I just make sure that I sunscreen okay. But if you're new to stuff like chemical exfoliants and retinoids, just chill a little bit on the concentration.
Yeah, I think first of all, you better have solid sunscreen habits before you start, fully using your AHAs and retinols during summer. If you don't have that down, then you need to cut those actives out. And then, I think I agree. It's like, it's not a great time to really up those concentrations. I guess unless you're quarantining.
Yeah, so my project this year is to try to ring retinol. And my skin, Victoria has seen it, it gets red and it like peels off, like blooming onion status, just peels off. And in the past couple of months after experimenting, I perfecting is a strong word, but I found that balance where I can feel there's some shedding but no irritation whatsoever. So I'm gonna stick with that. I'm not gonna up it. So during winter, what I would do is I'll find that balance and then I will push that boundary a little bit. I'll try it one more time during the week, or I'll move up in percentage. It doesn't work very well. So during summer, that's when I stop that kind of experimentation.
Yeah. So I think the other thing that we forgot to mention is pigmentation.
Yes. So summer is about maintenance and not making it worse. It's not quite the season to go hand with the hydroquinone, kojic acid to really tackle it. Yeah. Because the reality is sun just makes it worse.
Yeah, I mean, pigmentation is so stubborn of a skin concern. It takes a ton of patience and diligence. And so we really recommend save your really intense pigmentation routine for fall or when you're seeing less sun, because your actives already have it hard enough. So to spend all that money and time trying to fight that, when you might as well just make sure you can prevent new pigmentation and leave it for fall. It's a more practical way of fighting it. And we oftentimes get a lot of questions during the summer. It's like, oh, this is so disappointing. I use all these products in my routine. It doesn't work. Yeah, it doesn't work. It doesn't seem to fade. And that's the truth. It's just, you're in the sun a lot. That's the nature of it. So
yeah, and if you want to have a good general upkeep routine during the summer, just vitamin C and sunscreen in the morning. And vitamin C does have some light brightening powers to it anyway. And then at night, a light chemical exfoliation. Right. And we're talking about starting at 5 to 8%. If you want to know more about that, just refer back to our acids episode. I think that's 2 episodes ago.
Better memory than me.
I try.
Refer back. All right. And let's end it on confession time.
Confession o'clock. Sue, what are you?
Nothing to prepare for this.
Victoria has nothing to confess because she has been perfect with her skincare.
No. I just haven't prepared one. There's a lot, but I would say that probably for me, my cop-out answer is just how lazy I've been with cleansing during our stay at home. It's the truth. I don't go outside very much. So there are days where it's just miraculous that I've washed my face.
It's true. There are days we have meetings, we hop on calls, and both of us just the effort decreases exponentially every week.
I mean, it was already work to even brush my hair for this episode because it's been so long since we've needed to groom ourselves.
Yeah, so I joke that every week during a live sesh, that's my weekly reminder to pluck my eyebrows. It's not a joke. It's an actual reminder to be like, ooh. So
yeah, so that's my confession.
My confession.
Anything during quarantine?
I think for me, it's so we always preach don't over irritate your skin. Like irritation doesn't mean it's working, but during this time of like trying to rein retinol, sometimes like once I get to a point where I stop shedding, I'm like, oh, so
It's gotten stronger.
yeah, it can
More
take more now.
resilient.
So I'm gonna use it one more time. Like I just like you get trained, right? Because you're so used to looking for that shedding. Once your skin's acclimated to it, and you don't see that anymore. You feel like, oh, okay, that means I can take more, and you ignore your own advice about not overdoing it and just leave it alone. And you just have to go for that third one, especially during quarantine. You don't have to see anyone, so you don't really feel too bad showing your boyfriend your blooming onion face. So
It's the truth. It's the truth. And I think that's, especially when everyone's like, now has more time to think about self-care,
Yeah.
it's too easy. There's just too much, there's too many products at your hands that you can get
and
into.
that's another thing is like getting too casual about layering a bunch of different things. You're like, I'm at home, I should try new products, and like it doesn't help that it's our job to know what's out there and try new products.
Yeah.
So usually when we're on the road, Victoria and I, especially, I have a very fundamental fallback routine, like a very safe, I know this works for me type of routine. But when I was on quarantine, all bets are off.
So true. All right, so from our confessions, do wash your face and don't get too crazy with the active.
Don't be like us.
Yeah. Don't be a chemist.
Don't be a
All right, now for my favorite moment.
We breaking it up.
It's time to break
it up. Break it up.
More stupid when we have to do it over video.
So we have a shared doc on the general outline of what we're talking about today. Victoria found today's animal fact, and I did not look at it ahead of time. I didn't. She's like, oh, I'm so happy about this one. So I'm like, okay, I'll let it be a surprise.
Yeah, we take turns picking animals. So today I have one that was perfect, and I think Gloria would really enjoy. So today I'd like to talk about the Meritus volans.
The who?
It is actually part of the jumping spider family.
What?
I know, I'm not a spider person myself, but I recently, while browsing YouTube, stumbled upon this video, and it is wonderful.
That's a weird algorithm that lets you there.
I know. So it's actually commonly known as the peacock spider and is found in Australia. And I know what you're thinking.
Say no more.
I know. You're thinking that in Australia it's probably huge, but actually this guy's actually quite small. It's 0.3 inches in length, so probably not bigger than. Ooh, tragic. Very disappointing. But yeah, so it probably won't be bigger than the width of a pen, basically. The reason why it's called a peacock spider is because on the males, they actually have a very colorful flap on their that covers their abdomen.
That's what she said.
And it's usually like blue and orange. It's very brightly colored. So the noteworthy thing that I want to share with Gloria about is actually their mating ritual. So the males actually have to endure something called the runaway sexual selection.
Come again?
I know. It means they actually have to risk death to mate.
Like the praying mantis style.
Yes, exactly. And so when they find a female, these females aren't actually very friendly. So even just upon encountering, they usually already want to kill the male. But the way that they woo the lady is by doing a dance. So what it does is it raises two of its legs, one on each side, and it raises the flap, the colorful flap, and it just waves around like this and does this dance, and then it shakes its legs.
Oh.
So imagine it going like this, waving its flap, and just going around shaking and dancing for the lady.
Don't eat me.
Exactly. So the saddest thing is if the female doesn't like the dance, they'll try to kill them. And so these males actually have to dance and dodge death. So it's really sad. And and the thing is, the dance is actually really cute. If you ever have some time, just like Google the peacock spider on YouTube and you watch their dance. They look like a very enthusiastic Y in the YMCA.
Don't eat me, I'm so cute. Don't.
Exactly. So anyways, that's the animal I want to share. The saddest thing is, all things could go well. Let's say the female spider loves a dance, allows them to mate. After, the female may still kill the spider.
So, yeah, you've served your purpose.
Exactly.
I'm good now.
Yeah. So
Yikes.
it's brutal.
Yikes.
And so for those of you that are single out there, just be thankful you're not the peacock spider.
It's a rough world out there. I don't know if that's an uplifting ending or not.
I tried.
Hey guys, it
usually
could
I
be
have
worse.
like depressing, cute animal facts, so I tried to put a positive spin.
Hey, at least you might not die after you have sex. Yay!
Yay, animal facts.
Break it up.
All right, so yeah, I guess
that brings us to our last section.
Yeah. Very good Q&A.
We have collected a lot of good questions over the past couple of months, and we've answered a lot of good questions on our live sessions too, so thank you for that. Big shout out to It's Angel here and Bro Potato. I feel like they asked really good questions and just help us with our... Every one of those turned into hour-long sessions, and... we always are like, oh, okay, let's like keep this short and sweet. Mm-hmm. But then people really know their stuff, so it's always great. Yeah, and if you want us to do different stuff on the live session, also let us know. It's really just to keep the conversation open, have people ask each other and ask us about skincare. Yeah. So Q&A time. All right. First question. We recently got a question on mineral sunscreen recommendations, and I thought this was really interesting because it's kind of every case that it's like every skin quirk that makes it very hard to find a sunscreen. Mm-hmm. So this person's asking for a mineral sunscreen recommendation for irritated, sensitive skin type. From what they were describing, this person has tried them all, but has found a lot of minerals to be too heavy, splotchy, or left the skin with like a very orange hue because a lot of the minerals are tinted. And the one, like I mentioned before, he said same thing, loved the Murad, but it was too expensive. So he was asking us, like, do we have a recommendation? And I think for us, this is where we realize that the next logical thing is if you are struggling with an SPF 50 mineral, there's nothing wrong with dialing it down to an SPF 30 so that you can reapply. And it's more important to get that coverage over a longer period of time than only having coverage for 2 hours. Mm-hmm. So, and then we realized we don't know of a good SPF 30 mineral. Actually, that's such a good point. Yeah. I didn't realize this until Victoria was like, do you know a good mineral SPF 30? Yeah. Because people for a long time have been so obsessed chasing the number. It got to a point where they have to ban claiming SPF 99 or 100. And it became a 50 became the standard. You have to be 50 or 50 plus. But then if the trade-off is that you don't want to apply it, what's the point of having SPF 50?
Right, exactly. So that would actually be we wanted to share this so for those that are struggling with minerals, there's nothing wrong with dialing it down to give you more options. And if you find those options, do share because we realize that it's, ultimately that he kind of, this question captures everything that we struggle with minerals, is that it does get heavy. It does make skin feel a little congested after too many layers. So, anyways, next question. There are studies that have shown that vitamin C absorbs and stays in skin for 72 hours. So does that mean I need to use it daily?
So that was a really good question that I liked. So based on the study, it suggested that you might not need vitamin C serums daily. But then if you look at, so the way we look at things is how are the clinicals actually done. So most of the clinicals out there that shows vitamin C's skin protectant, skin protectant is a poor choice of words. Vitamin C's free radical fighting power, collagen synthesis promotion, skin brightening benefits, all of those are done with a routine that uses it at least once a day. So we base usage suggestions on actual clinical data. So even though this one theoretical paper suggests that you don't have to use it every day, we say based on the clinicals, the way it's performed, still use it daily. The only reason we wouldn't use it daily is if your skin is a little vitamin C sensitive, then maybe try to either dilute it or use it every other day just to be consistent with it. So yes.
Yep. At the end of the day, you want to follow the clinical that's testing it for those concerns and shows you those results. And finally, someone asked, have you guys ever done a post on niacinamide? I swear my skin hates it, and I don't know how because it seems like the wonder ingredient.
Ooh, I love this question.
Yeah.
My skin's very indifferent to it. We classify niacinamide, vitamin C or L-ascorbic acid, AHAs like glycolic acid, and retinoids as like the big four of skincare because they are some of the most backed up ingredients for skin benefits out there. All the other three, retinoids, vitamin C, AHAs, if I cut out my routine, I feel a difference. I know a difference in my skin. Niacinamide, for me, like, I don't know what it does.
Yeah. But granted, like, I feel like your skin is very resilient despite being dry.
Yeah.
So I do feel like niacinamide is a great component if you are in conjunction with, like, a retinoid.
Right.
But the other thing I do want to touch on is that this is a perfect example of what works for you doesn't mean it works for another person.
Right.
And that's totally fine. And so I would tell her, if your skin hates it, then your skin hates it. There's don't bother trying to, you can try dialing it down, but if you've tried everything, like there's nothing wrong with just like finding a solid moisturizer to cover your skin barrier help. And find people tout it for pigmentation and whatnot, and you can find there are other actives out there. So I would say, like, don't lose hope if you can't use it.
Yeah, and just one more thing to add, though, to dial it back down. So that's part of the problem we have with niacinamide is for some reason, currently, it seems like the standard is 10%. But if you're looking at actual scientific data, most niacinamide studies are tested between like 4 and 5%, as low as 2%. 2% has great data. So what that might mean is, I don't know which product you're using, but if you're using a 10%, it could very well be. So niacinamide also has a very signature film after you apply it. So it might be you're using something that's giving you entirely way too much niacinamide. So dilute it. If it doesn't work for you, like Victoria said, not everything works for everyone. It's about finding the combination that works for you based on the science, and what we talk about is guiding you towards the most probable directions.
Right. You are truly the expert of your skin, and so you should listen to that, over whatever people tout as the miracle skincare ingredient.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, so if niacinamide, quote, like me, if it doesn't do anything that I can visually see, but based on data, I can say, oh, I think it's helping me long term, it's good enough. But if, like you said, your skin hates it and it's irritating your skin, not worth it.
Yep, agreed. So that wraps up our episode 13.
Wow.
Yeah. Been a while.
It's been a while.
We had to, we got a little rusty. We're only gonna get back into the grind of things. But
thanks for your patience.
But yeah, so next week We don't know what we're talking about.
So help us out. Ask us to talk about something.
It's Gloria's turn to talk about animals, so it's probably something that's really terrifying and likes to claw cars.
You talked about spiders.
Poor peacock spider.
I object.
If you have any questions, you know where to find us. We hope this episode was helpful for you guys. And yeah, definitely write to us. Send in your suggestions for next episode. And we'll talk to you guys soon.
We'll see you next week, and it will not be 3 months.
Right. All right, guys. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.